Ma'am, we are live.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back another time on our platform where we discuss a lot of topics regarding mental health, increase our awareness, and understand why talking about that is important in today's day and time. My name is Shatadeepa. I am in-house psychologist and operations lead at Positivity. And today we will be discussing about learning love languages and how that can be helpful to build a healthy relationship, be it a relationship or a marriage, how that can be helpful in making it more feel more connected and make feel like we are much more together and growing towards prosperity and good health. In today's discussion, I have very experienced speakers and individuals who have gone through the journey, the ups and downs of relationship, who will be bringing in fruitful insights so that we can all learn from them. And as we begin, I would first like to introduce Positivity as a platform. I will quickly pull up my slides. Just allow me a moment. So, for people who are joining us new today, Positivity is a Singapore headquartered mental health organization. We are working in commitment to bringing quality and affordable mental health care to all of you. We are currently operational Southeast Asia and India. We have a pool of around 50 psychologists coming from different expertise and language background so that they can address to your mental health needs. If you feel like you have been thinking about your mental health care and you would like to get connected with someone who really gets you, this is your chance. You can scan the QR given on your screen and get started with your journey today. At least explore who can be the right fit and who can be your partner in mental health care. So, as we continue, Positivity also caters to business needs, to organizations who would like to partner with us for their mental well being, for their employees' mental well being. We cover several services starting from psychometric testing to new hire testing, their mental well being at an organizational level, be it the assessment to individual therapy or group therapy or awareness based mental health workshops and sessions. Positivity partners with organization to ensure that their mental well-being needs are met to the T. And as we continue, I would like to now invite my colleague to introduce a very interesting topic that Positivity is currently working on, which is premarital counseling package. We are calling it a product, but it is a service which is extremely relevant to today's time, where individuals might find it very confusing to go about what is it that I should look at when I'm deciding on my partner, be it somebody that I have already met, be it somebody who I am currently exploring. What is it that I can look at which can help me know that this is the partner that I would like to walk my life with? Right? So let's hear to this video. Let's give it a watch. I would like to ask my teammate to play the video so that we can understand about
Hi
it.
everyone and welcome. I'm Mehak from Positivity team, and before we begin, I'm excited to share something new on the Positivity platform. We have expanded our counseling services to support couple at every stage of their journey together. This includes relationship counseling for couples who navigates everyday challenges and looking to strengthen their bond. Premarital counseling for couples who are preparing for marriage, helping them work through communication, finance, family expectation, and long-term goals before they say I do. And post-marriage counseling for those who want ongoing support as they build their life together after marriage. All sessions are guided by licensed, experienced therapists available online with flexible timings to fit in real life. And if you are joining us today as a coach, wedding professional, or community builder, this is an opportunity for you too. As a positivity partner, you can refer any of these services to the couple you already know and earn commission on every successful package booking while adding real and long lasting value to the people you already know. Whether you are here to explore these packages for yourself or to bring them for the couple you know, we are glad you are here. I'm pasting links of packages page and strategic alliance partner with positivity application form in the chat. Go and explore it now. Thank you so much.
I hope that's a quick food for thought for all of you, whoever wants to get in touch to know more about this. We have shared a link on the chat box. You can get in touch with our partner today. Having said that, I would like to now introduce our speakers today. First, I have Miss Meeti Dosa Temkar with me. She is a consultant counseling psychologist with Positivity. She practices from the lens of narrative therapy and systems therapy, attachment theories. She has an experience of 5 years working with individuals and couples and guiding them through their challenges in relationships or individual goals. Thank you, Meeti, for agreeing to do this, and we are looking forward to all your insights.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure being here.
Great. Next, I have with me Ms. Shreya Lahoti. She's a psychologist by qualification, currently works in the capacity of relationship coach and a matchmaker. So, in today's world, matchmaking has taken a new dynamic altogether. Understanding the current needs of individuals and couples who are coming together looking for the right match, Shreya helps them get connected and find the right partner for walking the path with each other. Shreya, I'm looking forward to getting a lot of insights from your field of work, what you think and about the whole aspect of finding love and understanding love languages, and eventually the services that people like you or psychologists provide to these couples to find the right partner.
Absolutely. Thank you, Deepa. It's really nice to be here and hoping to hear a lot from the other panelists as well and see where I can add my knowledge of the field.
Absolutely. And finally, I have Ms. Shomula Mandal with me. She's a postdoctoral research associate working at WashU. She's currently located in the United States, and I'm very grateful that at such an odd hour, she has agreed to join all of us in our today. She is an individual who will be providing a lens to all of us from a perspective where she has seen a difficult relationship, came out of it, and now in a very fulfilling and healthy relationship, moving towards being a bride in November. So, congratulations on that. And I would also like to know a lot more from you from a very anecdotal point of view, that what you think about how important love languages are, how important emotional intimacy is, and so on.
Thank you so much. And I'm really looking forward to this session. Yep.
All right. So, Meeti, over to you.
All right. I think my first question to all of us, because all of us have experienced love in some capacity, what do you think love is? If you all can, unmute and want to add or want to put it in chat, what is your idea of love?
So the chat box is open for all of you, and I would also request the team to give mic access. You can keep dropping any words that come to your mind which resonates when we hear the word love.
For me, love is priority, and love is a small gesture that we and share with each other. And for me, love is also caring.
Absolutely. Priority, caring, comfort, small gestures. Absolutely. it is interesting that all of us have experienced love, all of us know what is love, and yet sometimes it's very difficult to define what love is. And you will see that there are so many definitions of love. It is such an subjective experience. And while I was reading, I was searching for what is it that this love is, I came across these three definitions which particularly took my attention, which was love is not just a feeling, it is an action. This is defined by Bell Hooks in her book All About Love. And it's very interesting because when we think about love and feeling, it feels like it is something that will just pass away. But when we think of love as an action, it is a consistent effort that we are putting in. Similarly, a psychiatrist also defines love as the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own and another's spiritual growth. Again, we see the willingness, the choice of making it uh, last longer, and that is love. And the most modern definition or theory of love is given by Robert Sternberg, and he also mentions how wholesome love is a mixture of intimacy, passion, and commitment. So, only intimacy won't be full love, only passion will also not lead to full love, but a combination of all of these three things will lead to consummate love. And that is the definition given by the most recent theorist. Any
All right.
thoughts that you all want to add?
As we look at love from such a objective lens, I mean, that was very interesting. I have never really thought from a theoretical perspective of what it might sound like. I would like to ask Shreya how you are noticing the current trends in matchmaking. Are people directly talking about finding love, or love languages related conversations coming up at the beginning?
Well, while everyone at the end of the day wants to come back home to a person they feel comfort with, they can trust, they can kind of believe that, if they fall apart, there's someone who can hold the fort for them. That's the end goal for a lot of us. But unfortunately, the filtration process is a piece of paper. It is a biodata that they see. It is the age, income, salary, location. Are they living with parents? Are they okay to live away from parents? Do they want to have kids? Are they okay with pets? A lot of non-negotiables have started coming in, which sounds more like a business deal, whereas at the end of the day they want to get away from feeling that transactional feeling is something they want to get away from, but unfortunately begin their journey with that. So I don't know, I find it a little scary today the way people are approaching, looking for a companion in an arranged setup.
Mhm.
Organically, if you meet someone, that's very different. You don't know
Yeah.
anything about them, you're exploring, and these conversations come up much later, into dating. But this is what I'm seeing in matchmaking, at least.
Paradox. The need is love, but the journey begins with a lot of other logistical, concerns.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's also important for sure. I mean, you can't
Yeah,
live
of
life
course.
just basis love. You need to know whether your partner is capable to grow in life, what ambitions they come with. Will they be able to match up to your level of ambitions? These are important questions, but they can't become your barrier to falling in love. You can fall in
Absolutely.
love and then figure these things out about a person.
Yeah. So somewhere starting with love, fulfilling that need, and then eventually finding a home or building an institution called marriage. That's a
Yes.
whole journey.
That's a whole journey, and you start with liking a person. I think love comes when you can let yourself go completely in front of a person, right? Like you can be the most vulnerable self. You can talk about the darkest things that you would not say to yourself. It's trust. At the end of the day, the journey from liking someone to loving someone is a matter of trust, I feel.
Absolutely. That becomes an important hook to maybe steer the conversation to Shomila. How have you experienced the shift or the difference from when you did not feel very fulfilled in a relationship versus you found one where it was being fulfilled? How was the shift? What were the small things that you were noticing which felt like love?
Well, in my past relationship, I mean, love or relationship, it's like giving the time or nurturing each other that we are saying. But what I felt is that the absence when I required, I mean, I when there are some situation where you need a partner who can tell you that whatever is going, it's okay. I am there, and it will going to be all right. But I never feel that. So love is not about celebrating a candlelight dinner or going for a Valentine's Day dinner or something like that. It's to go and grow together. So that was the basic thing that was missing in my past relationship. So it's not about only about the happy time that we share. It's also about to uh, take care of each other's emotions, which is fulfilled with the person now I'm with. So he knows without me telling him that yes, I'm not feeling good today. So I think that comes with the blessings. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. So, with that understanding from of your perspective, I would like to take a poll from our audience, but unfortunately, I think I am not being able to launch it. So I'll ask my team to launch it from the back end. We will have a poll where we will understand or give opinions to the questions that the poll is asking for. So you'll find a prompt on your screen where it says polling question Q&A on Slido. People who have logged in from their computer, you can directly take part in it. People who have logged in from your phones, you can click on the link that we have pasted on the chat box. It will take you to the Slido website and you can take part in the polling. So the question is, have you ever explored the concept of love languages? First option is yes, in depth. Second is I have heard about them. Third is I know a little bit. And fourth is this is new to me. So let's try to see what's the pulse of the cohort today, how far we have understanding around the concept of love languages. So currently on my screen, I have 67% people saying I have heard about them, 33% saying yes, in depth. No votes for I know a little or this is new to me. So that's great. Maybe your thoughts on this?
Absolutely. So, since love is something that we all have experienced in some way or the other, I'm sure everyone has heard of it. We talk in languages to communicate our ideas, and love languages are very similar to that, where those are the languages in which we communicate love. We give or receive love. So, I am sure that all of us are doing that already. It's just that we need to make it more visible, make it more intentional now. There is one more poll that I would want all of us to answer. Are we able to access the Slido again?
Yeah, let's launch it from the back end, Palaksh. The next one. So the next question is, which is most difficult to do consistently in a relationship? Is it listen without interrupting, express appreciation, make time for each other, and resolve disagreements calmly? So quick reminder for people who can directly access the poll from their laptops, you can take part in it from your screen, and others who have logged in from phone can click on the link given on the chat box and participate in the poll. So I have a very unique 25, 25, 25, 25 split on my screen. So the first one says listen without interrupting. The second one is express appreciation. Third one, make time for each other. And fourth, resolve disagreements. So I think the hardship is quite split across all the 4 areas. And I would like to learn more from you about how we can solve those problems in the upcoming discussions.
Absolutely. So I think this gives us an idea of how different and how subjective each one of us are in terms of expressing love. None of us might have the same love language. But first, let's learn about what are these 5 love languages. Gary Chapman has given these 5 love languages. The first one is called words of affirmation. So, it is basically how we verbally express, communicate how much we value the other person. So it can be through compliments, it can be through small everyday statements like I love you. That itself is a word of affirmation. uh, in earlier times there were letters, poetry, songs written on love. All of them were verbal communication of how I feel loved. And they don't have to be big things, just a simple I believe in you, I support you, thank you for doing the dishes today. A lot of times we take things for granted that are happening in our everyday life and forget to say that out loud to our partner. So doing this, communicating through words of affirmation, that can be our one of the love languages. The second one is quality time. Quality time basically means spending time with each other in an uninterrupted manner. So it is the sheer presence of a person that can make us feel loved, and that's enough. So it can be basic things like going grocery shopping together, sometimes going on dates together, or cooking or cleaning together. Sometimes it can just mean that being in the same room but doing your own thing. You know that that person is there with you, there is presence, you can feel it, you don't have to do a lot of things together, but that itself can be quality time. The third one is physical touch. I think evolutionarily this is the most basic form of expressing love to each other. Even children understand that when I am held, when I'm touched, it is a sign that I can feel calm, I can feel loved in this moment. So simple hugs, kisses, cuddling, all of that is a very basic human form of loving each other. The fourth one is acts of service. This is a very instrumental way of telling that I love you. In Indian culture, feeding each other is a form of love. We all feed each other so much, but that the thought behind it is that I care. I love you, and that is why I'm doing this for you. So simple things like picking up your partner after work, that's an act of service. It is telling them that I love, I care. And the last one is receiving gifts. Now, this might sound very materialistic or surface level. However, when I think of receiving gifts, this first one, getting gajra for wife, it's a very nice thought. Gajra is basically flowers. So the gift, or how big or small the gift is, that does not matter, but the thought behind it, that I thought about you, that is also one form of expressing love, right? So receiving gifts might sound materialistic, but it is not about the gift, the object itself, but the thought behind it. And all of us might have a combination of all of these. For some of them, one of them will be the top priority, the other one is okay if it is not there. But all of us have a combination of these 5 love languages through which we communicate. Any thoughts that you would want to add to this?
Um, I mean, thank you for explaining this so comprehensively and in such a relevant manner. I think these are all very small things if we look at it, but it can become extremely big and extremely significant in terms of how well it lays the foundation for a relationship. I would like to ask Shreya that in a scenario where matchmaking is happening and two strangers are coming together and talking about their potential alliance. Obviously, at the beginning there will be no direct love language which is present, or they can look for it. But
Hmm.
still, if they have to go about exploring it
Hmm.
in their initial few dates or conversation, how
Yeah.
would you suggest one should go about it, or what are the observations, soft signs that they can look for?
So I think the first sign comes in when you're planning a date with each other. For the first time, you both are about to meet each other, right? Because before that, it's again, like I said, a piece of paper, maybe one conversation on a video call. But when I am going on a date with someone, and I see a lot of my clients saying this, that Shreya, he picked out a restaurant because I told him what my favorite cuisine was. And he was very mindful in selecting a specific restaurant because that served the food that I like. While
Yeah,
he could have just chosen anything which was closer to him or, midway, he put in the effort to go through a list and pick that specific restaurant out for me. In the middle of a conversation, I must have told him that, that I like sunflowers. Roses are not my thing. And I just made a passing statement, and he actually got sunflowers for me instead of roses. So the fact that he was listening to me while I was talking to him before we even met, that shows how much he can put in an effort and would want to put in effort. So that's the pre-dating, pre-meeting each other phase. Once you start dating each other, once you start kind of talking about, that this person looks like a prospect to me, and you've gone on a third or a fourth date, and this happened just yesterday. This client of mine who's in Singapore was matched with a guy who's sitting in France, and he sent her a origami of a heart that he had made over a courier, along with a Spotify QR code with some of her favorite songs. So it wasn't like a grand gesture or a big gift, but the fact that he's sitting in France and he thought about this, he made that origami heart for her, sent it across. That made her feel like this guy has put aside time. He just didn't spend money and send me whatever gift that he could. He's actually consciously put in time. So these are things
yeah.
that people look at today, even with matchmaking.
Wow. So good to hear that. And I think very practically put across. I think people who are listening to us or exploring in the dating profile right now can look forward to maybe observing these signs, or recognizing if it's already present. That is important. I mean, knowing a love language and then learning a love language, these are two different things. I might be a natural gift giver, but my partner might not speak the same language. Maybe token of love or gift giving is not his or her love language, and maybe act of service is their love language. So then I need to learn it, right? So that's something that we can start from the very beginning itself.
Yeah,
uh
and if I may add here, Deepa,
yeah.
there was another date, and this was the first date. The guy took her to a really fancy restaurant, and they're both well-to-do people. So he assumed that a fancy gourmet restaurant is going to impress her. When she reached, he could visibly see that, she's not very comfortable, she's not feeling great. So he just asked her, "Do you want to step out?" And she was like, "Can we just go eat from a food truck?" And he just got up and he's like, "Let's just go." And they walked around the city. They ate from a food truck. And that was one of the best dates that both of them said that they had had. Had he not picked up on that cue, while
Yeah,
maybe going to a fancy restaurant could be his love language, but it wasn't
yeah,
hers. And he picked up on that. So that's very important to learn, to keep
Absolutely.
seeing and
We
learning.
learn, we observe. And that's what clicks also, like how you're mentioning that because both of them could learn and pick up on that, it eventually felt very wholesome for both of them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He could have continued to sit there, had the fancy meal, called it a great
Yeah.
date in his head, but the woman would have come back and said, ah, no, maybe not for me. But he
Yeah,
picked up on the cue.
absolutely. Shomula, what do you think? Has there been any moment in your current relationship where you thought that, okay, this is not my love language, but I can recognize this is his love language. So it helps me feel like he's present and I'm learning that love language. Any such moments, experience that you have had?
Well, he is not very talkative and very like upfront with his feelings. So what he do, he always put his action before his words. So in my case, I wanted to, I also work with my actions. Along with, I wanted to show the person that how much I love him. So for me, it's like, I'm very upfront with my feelings, but he is not. And I'm learning it. Sometimes it's a bit overwhelming that, hey, I'm telling you what I'm feeling and all of these things, and you're not responding to it, but that's how he is. And but it doesn't mean that he don't love me. It and I know it several times. That when he's worried or he put some effort where for example, what Shreya just said, that I just made a passing comment. So I remember there is a time I just asked him that, I really like that if someone can write some lines for me as a poetry or something like that. He is not that kind of guy who will write a lot of poetry or something like that. But he put an effort to do that without, telling me that I'm going to do that or something like that. So that's the thing I'm learning, and it's very new to me because I have a tendency to put everything in a syllabus that what will fit here and what will fit there, but sometimes things that doesn't work like that. So I'm learning it, but it's really nice.
Awesome. So coming back to Meeti, you must be seeing couples in your office who needs to be hand-holded a bit or helped to be able to learn and pick up on each other's love language. Do you think if we miss that, how both Shreya and Shomila mentioned that if we miss those cues, open towards learning the other person's love language, that can lead to fights, escalations, disconnect?
Absolutely. I think when we are not leaning in towards each other, or we are not mindful of these misalignments, it leads to a lot of resentment that I expressed or I asked for it, but he's not giving it to me, or he
Yeah.
is doing something, but I'm not valuing it. I'm not feeling loved. So there builds a resentment, and if that resentment or that difference, that friction is not communicated with each other, that leads to a lot of fights, that leads to a lot of disagreement, and then finally drifting apart.
Distance. Yeah.
Right. So that communicating, knowing each other's love language, and openly telling it that this is what I want, or this is how I express love. Is it something that you would like, or do I do something differently? So this communication, I think, is very important when it comes to misalignment in love languages. And it is very natural. No two people will have the exact same way of expressing love. So knowing that this is natural, this is not a fault or a defect in our relationship, but a very natural part of the process, understanding that is very important.
And a lot of times I've seen that people get a little stuck on what they need or what language they speak. That I want to be loved that way I want to be loved. And these are some things that people can explore in therapy or couples counseling. That's possible.
Yes, absolutely. So, any sort of rigidity would be like we are in the extremes, we are not budging, and uh, couples or relationships is all about coming to that middle ground. So if there is something that I need to work upon, maybe I need to work upon. If there is something that my partner needs to understand about me, then that is the thing. So it's both ways where both the people need to understand and come to that middle point and understand each other and
And
work on
sometimes
themselves.
if we find it difficult to communicate, or we feel that okay, this is a repetitive loop of not being able to solve it, maybe a good idea is to seek help from an
Yes.
expert who can bring in a neutral opinion and help them bridge that gap.
Absolutely. Couples counseling would be a good fit for people who want to work on this. Absolutely.
So we were already talking about what if the love languages misalign, then what happens? So you
Yeah.
can give us a little bit more in-depth understanding of the patterns. We look forward to that.
Absolutely. So, because we were speaking about this, that no two people will have the same love language, it is very important that we know what is it that our love language is. So, there is actually a quiz that is available online for free on this website called 5lovelanguages.com, and you and your partner can actually sit down together. It's just a 5-minute quiz that you have to answer, and you will know what are your priorities, and then you can communicate in that language. So I think the very first step is awareness, to know what is it that my love language is. So taking that quiz. Secondly, asking and not assuming. I think Shreya mentioned this story, this beautiful thing, that the partner asked the girl that, are you not liking it? Should we do something else? So that person maybe initially assumed that, okay, this would be a good idea. But the moment he realized this is not, he asked, what can I do differently? What should we do next? So ask how much ever you feel that, okay, I can sense that something is not okay. Do not assume things. Ask. That makes the communication better, right? And this is on the behalf of like giving love. But when we are receiving love, I think it's very important to notice the efforts. And I think this is the point that Shamila also pointed out, that if the love language is not aligning, I know that it is different, but I can at least acknowledge the effort that that person is putting, right? They might be communicating in their love language, but am I noticing the thought behind it? Also,
Yeah.
maybe sometimes we took the quiz, say for example, and now my partner is trying to love me in the language that I feel is best, but they might fail sometimes. It might not be the best effort, but are we acknowledging that effort, right? So on the receiving end, it is very important that we notice and acknowledge these efforts. Constant criticism that what this person is not doing might also lead to resentment. So we need to also see the efforts of the person. And lastly, on the receiving end again, maybe communicating using I statements. This is what I would prefer. This is what I want. I acknowledge that you did this, but this is what I would uh, feel is better, and it will make me feel more valued, right? So when we constantly say that you did not do this, you did not do that, you did not pay attention, um, it's very natural that a defensiveness might arise in the partner, that I too did it. Why are you not feeling loved? I have all the intentions, I
Yeah.
did everything. But when we start using I statements, is when we are able to communicate our need, our feeling, and have a smoother communication. So these are a few things on the giving and receiving end that we can do when there is a misalignment.
Great. Thank you for breaking it down so simply for all of us to understand that if it's not aligned, what is it that we can do, and at least from which perspective we can start thinking from. Um, Shreya, have you heard couples coming back and talking about they not feeling understood, as if there was no connection? I'm sure some of them might be talking about it. Have you not, and since you are already, in a capacity of coach and also a psychologist by profession, by qualification, you might be later thinking about it that the misalignment could have been love language, but and it later became big enough to become a deal breaker. So, any such pattern or incidents that you've come across which is present in the pre-wedding journey?
Um, I think people um, forget that, that someone else is putting in the effort to try and understand them. You are a stranger to a person, they don't know you from before, right? So it's not like they can understand everything about you in 5 dates. It takes us years to understand somebody, and even then it's difficult to reach a middle ground with people. And here we're talking about two strangers coming from two different lifestyles, two different upbringings, worldviews which are so different. So that is like a gap I have seen a lot in people, where during dating, one person comes and snaps suddenly that that he fell asleep while talking to me, and this has happened twice. But what about the 10 other times where he tried to stay awake for additional hours just to catch how your day was, and maybe got less sleep on those days? So people are losing a lot of tolerance, I feel, towards others. Like, it's a very switch on, switch off in people's brains. They don't remember the great things that someone has done for them, and these actions become deal breakers. And for the guy who fell asleep, I felt so bad, because this female, the client, she's like, I don't want to go ahead with him. And they'd been talking for almost 3 weeks, and he was really into her, and he would their time zones were different. So he would literally be working his time zone, making time for her, while she never changed her timings. She told him very clearly, these are my timings, I'm not going to change it. He tried a lot to do it. But those two incidents made her feel that he doesn't care. So these are the kind of differences that I do see today in people, for sure.
So when we are not flexible or not keeping an open mind, especially
Yeah.
during the getting to know phase,
Yeah.
that can majorly flare up and become a deal breaker eventually.
Very easily, very, very easily. Because here the stakes are very high. It's your life partner that you are looking at. It's no longer dating to just date, right? So the
Right,
first sign of inconvenience, and you want to bolt.
right. Thank you for sharing that insight, Shreya. Coming to Shomila, do you think the aspects that we were discussing, communication, eye language, or even keeping an open mind, uh, in your experience, how have you seen these become very crucial? Can easily bring up a fight if we are not keeping an open mind or not listening or not communicating the right way, getting stuck with I want what I want. Have you experienced that, and if you would like to share with others how that have really affected you and then you have learned from that?
What I have seen before is that people, I mean, for example, if I am explaining something and people are actually not listening to that, say, so they are just waiting for my speech to be finished and so that they can reply. So there is a difference between reply and response. So before giving the response, you have to understand what the situation I'm going through. So right now, I feel like in my past relationship, where I felt that I am quite unheard about my feelings and whatever, which I'm not dealing with it right now. So it's really important to listen your partner. At the same time, it's really important to understand that how the other person is making an effort. So it's the effort that always count, not that how much time did he pass my criteria, how much how at the time where he failed. It's
Hmm.
not like a a math result or something like that, that if you get 80% above you will get a distinction, if you lose like but other than 40% you're fail, and it's not going to be like that.
Yeah.
So for me, it's to appreciate the effort and try to be a little bit more clear, because no one is going to sit inside my head and see that what are my thoughts. So making my points clear, and also for my partner, is too important to hear me out. So that's what I lack in my past relationship, which I don't have anymore.
Thank you for sharing that. I think if we summarize this slide, we would look at how important communication is, keeping an open mind is, not looking at results in terms of quantity or exactly ticking the boxes that, oh, I needed my partner to stay awake for me and that did not happen, but discounting every other effort that was there. We should not be repeating those patterns and try to be present, try to listen better and communicate better, which can solve our problems. And further, if we see that despite doing that, if it's not something that we are being able to solve, then professionals like Meeti can help, or coaches like Shreya can help, and people can reach out for the right kind of guidance. So we are approaching a couple of last slides that we have for today. Meeti, why don't you take us through this?
Again, I think this is an open question to all of us, that to feel loved, do we prefer grand gestures occasionally or small everyday gestures frequently? You can put it in the chat. What's your pick? What's your preference?
Okay, let's see what are our preferences. I have put in mine. I would invite all of you to put in yours, whatever you think, or even if you think both are important, we
Yes.
can go for that. So I think all the panelists are for small gestures here. Our participants are a bit shy, I guess. So yeah, in terms of both small gestures or grand gestures, both have its own significance in its own way.
Absolutely.
Miti, if you think that somebody is looking for the small gestures, and then the partner is thinking that, no, I'm investing enough, at least on the birthday gifts or anniversary gifts, I book a very expensive resort, or I buy diamonds to my partner, or I give him an iPad. So I'm doing my bit on the major dates and days. And if I am not present, or if I'm rather busy in work on a day-to-day basis, that's not ground for her or him to complain. How would
Hmm.
you navigate that crisis in your office?
Correct. A lot of people in therapy come with this. They both think that they are right in their place. And that is where coming together in one room and talking about, okay, we both feel that way. We both of our truths can be right in their own way. And we need to understand what the other person wants and see if there is something that we can do about it, right? So and there is no right or wrong, that only one person is right. It's a preference that we are talking about, and we need to work around the preferences of both in the therapy room, right? In this case, maybe even researchers say that small everyday gestures keep the relationship long lasting. But that does not mean that grand gestures are bad or not okay or unimportant. It's that we need to both communicate, understand, and appreciate whenever both of these things are happening. So, open communication in the therapy room is also what I would say. I would
You would
recommend.
encourage and try to guide them through.
Yeah.
All right. So I think once people are in a relationship, then noticing the small gestures or expecting or planning for big gestures both become a little easier. But Shreya, do you think in the initial days, even in a dating situation on apps when people meet, or premarital alliance consideration when people are discussing marriage, are these emotional gestures, small gestures are being talked about, or people are mostly focusing on the logistics or ambition or growth, children, family? Which share of topics are taking a bigger chunk or space in that conversation?
Honestly, because like I said, the stakes are high, you would want to get the non-negotiables out of the way first,
Mhm.
so that then you can be at peace and then start getting to know the person. So initial few conversations are always going to revolve around what do you want in life versus what I want.
Mhm.
Important things like when do you want to have kids? Do you want to have kids? So these are the
Right.
kind of logistical concerns, issues, topics that people talk about. And once they feel that they've reached a stage of comfort, that that person is on the same page as them, is when they start noticing the smaller gestures. It's not like they were not there before, but the
Mhm.
focus shifts from I need
Right.
to look at non-negotiables versus now I need to start looking at how is he going to be on a day-to-day basis with me. So it does come up, but at a much later stage, I would say,
Later
when
stage.
it comes
Okay.
to marriage.
Okay.
Yes.
Makes sense. I think for people who must be wondering that, okay, if I am starting new, the journey of dating or looking at alliances for marriage, this can be a good roadmap also. Like some of us are instinctual about it and we know what we need, what's important. But a lot of time we get this question that, oh, what should I keep in mind? What questions should I ask? I think this observation, and also I would say suggestion, would be helpful for them, that keep the non-negotiables out there, talk about it, keep the bigger logistic aspect cleared, and then you can talk about the small ones, gestures, be more observant, be more open about learning love languages. That can be a good roadmap for them to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Shomila, any thoughts on this? How, I mean, you have been in a relationship where you have found a person organically. It was not like you were going out there or looking for it, or it was not a very structured journey for you. But how has been the shift for you? Talking about small gestures or the grand gestures, how has been the theme for you?
From the beginning, I'm not really very fan of the grand gesture for sure. I mean, so for me, grand gesture is like, I mean, it's very occasionally if someone is doing it, that's okay. Because I also felt like it takes, if you are thinking in a practical way, it takes a lot of economic involvement along with a lots and lots of time. And right now, everyone of us is working, and it really takes a lot of effort to put like a really big something like a grand gesture. For me, small gestures are quite like, I mean, I would prefer a good morning message each and every day rather than going on a date like once in a year, which will be like super nice, candlelight, something like that. And also maybe in the middle of the work, hey, did you have your lunch? So for me, these are the things which are really important. And yeah, so in my past relationship, to be honest, I really never get this kind of small gestures. So uh, there is like, oh, this is like a celebration thing, let's just go and celebrate, and then it's vanish. So I prefer the consistency, whether it's small, that's okay. But
Mhm.
yeah, from my side, I will prefer the small gesture anytime.
Awesome. So I think with consistency, something very, a technical term that we use is emotional availability, unavailability, that aspect. So I think the small consistent gesture makes us very reassured about our partner's emotional availability. That creates a great foundation and security for a relationship to build upon. Midi, do any thoughts, or do I continue with the next slide?
I think this is the perfect time to also go to the next slide because we are on the same topic
Mm-hmm.
of small gestures and its importance. I think I loved what Shreya said that initially maybe people prefer the big things and they want to discuss that. But a very important question before marriage is and also after marriage is how are they in their everyday life. What are they going to do in their daily habits that will tell me whether I'm valued, respected, loved, right? So if we talk about integrating, okay, what are my love languages and how do I now show it or do it in an everyday manner, let's talk about that. There is again a theory called bids of connection. We were speaking about these cues, right, initially in the initial part of the webinar. So bids are nothing but these small cues, subtle attempts in which we try to initiate connection. We try to form a connection in a very small manner. For example, if a wife comes home after job, the husband opens the door and the wife sighs. Now there are two three things that a husband could do. One is ignore the sigh and go to his own room and do the work. Second thing is the husband might notice it, that okay, there was a sigh, he offers water and then again goes back to what he was doing. Third option could be he notices the sigh and asks, hey, are you okay? Do you want to talk about it? Right? So this sigh was a bid for connection, a cue, an attempt that I want to communicate something, I want love or something in this moment to be held. Now, how do I respond as a partner to that subtle attempt for connection? Makes or breaks the relationship, or in that moment makes or breaks that moment, right? So researchers say that couples who are responding to these subtle signs at least 86% of the time have a healthy relationship. And if we fail to respond to these needs, say the score is less than 33%, there's a high risk of splitting or separating. Because in the everyday small things, I am not being seen, I'm not feeling valued. And that can be a heartbreak, right? Heartbreak also doesn't have to be a big thing, but these small bits for connection are not being met. Now how do we integrate like love languages and this concept? Now if I am a person who likes acts of service, then I would have really appreciated my husband bringing water for me, because in that moment that is all that I needed. But let's say I am a person who appreciates quality time or words of affirmation. I would have wanted my partner to sit down with me, listen to my day, ask me what is wrong. If my love language is physical touch, I would have desperately wanted a hug in that moment. So it depends on what my love language is, how I am communicating my bid, and how the response of that bid is, right? So again, I would say there is no one right way of responding, but responding is very necessary. And these bids are very small everyday things. I just give a silent stare if I am upset, and is my partner understanding something is not okay over here? Or if my partner has hugged me and I am giving a smile, a reassuring a smile, that is what I needed. So these are small everyday things that I'm doing with my partner that are keeping the relationship healthy, a long lasting consistent relationship.
Absolutely. I think we do understand this, but we never discuss this in so much detail and understanding. So, I mean, it was a very, it hit home when you were discussing and giving us those examples. I would like to ask Shreya that in a new exploring relationship, we might not always know what the other person is expecting, or we have no way to figure it out. We are going for the first or second date. From your experience, what is it that you typically suggest them? How can they be more mindful? How can they watch out for the bids so that they can connect well? Is there any generic suggestions or tips that you would like to give people on this matter?
Yeah, so I think when you are going on a date for the first time, you want to cover every aspect of that person because you don't want to waste time. You anyway know that you have like 10 more prospects to meet, so you're kind of filtering really fast. Now, the biggest mistake that people make in this is they start asking questions like it's an interview. That, you know, point one, point two, point three, check, 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 check. And very often, but they don't realize because they've been doing this for so long that they have now become quite interrogative in nature versus curious in nature. And the bid from the person in front possibly could be that I am feeling uncomfortable because I am being questioned on things that you are going to make your decision basis. So either I'm going to be worthy or not worthy. So the bids can be very different for different people. But the advice that we give to every person is that don't go with the mindset to interrogate. Go with the mindset to know, to be curious. Which is why, as a matchmaker, I will give you all the necessary information about a person. I will tell you all the lifestyle, age, income, all the basic things that you would want to know so that you can go on a date without having to worry about those things and start from getting to know who he is as a person as compared to his logistics or salary or how much is he, you know, or what position does he hold. All of that information I'm giving you. You just go on a date, have a good time, get to know him, and don't make judgments basis the answers that he's possibly giving you on date one because the person is nervous himself. Maybe he's had a bad day at work, maybe he doesn't know what to say on a first date. So these are things that we tell a lot of our clients to do. Of course, not everyone would listen,
Yeah.
but yes, those who do, I think, are the ones who've had some great success stories coming out.
So, be it the beginning of a relationship or continuing to build one, being present, being mindful, trying to listen to the other person, not just waiting for my doubts to be clarified
Yeah.
or getting my needs to be met should be the priority, but it should be more like a process that we are building together. And I communicate what I need, at the same time be very mindful of how the other person is feeling as per
Absolutely.
my
I think you
gestures.
couldn't have said it better. You should communicate what you need versus asking what do you give to me or what do you bring to the table. I
Right.
want these things. That's and leave the control to the rest to the other person.
Great. Perfect. Yeah. Yes.
Versus asking them, can you do this for me? Are you
Yeah.
going to be earning so much for me?
Hmm.
Doesn't make sense.
Correct. And I think that is this the balance what Meeti was also talking about. When we learn each other's love language, we might sometimes get very carried away about, no, I want token of love. I have seen a lot of women get very worked up with the idea that I have never received a bouquet of flower. I have been married for 15 years. So, but there could be so many other gestures that are present, but they're not picking it up because they're so hung upon this is what my need was. So if that, it's fair enough, you can communicate that, but bring it to the table and leave it at that, like you mentioned. And the other person's response to that can tell a lot about that relationship, that what are they doing about that need, how is that being met, how is that being understood and learned. That is the insight that we get, and we know that whether it's moving towards a positive and a wholesome one. So as we come, much towards the end of this discussion, Shomila, I think this will be the last question for you. That carrying on from, healing from one difficult relationship, coming out, moving to another one, often becomes extremely overwhelming. A lot of people lose confidence. They say that I won't be able to trust anyone, especially when the relationship is a long lasting one, and then eventually doesn't work out. Uh, Beginning again, being open towards, understanding love languages, teaching, learning, a lot of people might feel very demotivated and exhausted, that I don't care, maybe nobody's listening, I don't want to say it anymore. What's the point? I tried a lot, it never got fulfilled. And we might generalize people also, that men are like this or women are like this. So since you have made that journey, you have healed, moved from one place to the other, and growing for better. What would be your suggestion or point of sharing that you would want people to remember so that they can also heal, help themselves, move towards a positive for a better tomorrow?
Well, what I understand from my past relationship is that your happiness is only and only because of you, and it's only on you. Don't put your happiness to others' responsibility that if he is doing this or if he is doing that, then this will make me happy. So, and also it's really important that the other person, he is also a different entity, and there will be some days which will make you upset. And don't put all the things on yourself. Like if it's going, like this, like Shreya said that these days people are making checklists, and though she made it for a different perspective.
Context, yeah.
But yes, yeah, but the thing is that if you are checking everything out, and if you are seeing that, um mm, I mean, how can I reframe that? So uh, I mean, things sometimes go really overwhelming. So, and for me, what my biggest mistake was that is to rely on to that person too much for my happiness, which I shouldn't do that. I mean, I would recommend that find, I mean, your relationship is definitely a very big part of your life, but also you are also an individual. He is also an individual, and you should also have some time for yourself where you can find yourself. So that's really important. And yeah, so I will suggest these to people because that's what I understand, and this will also, uh, make you go in life, because if you rely too much on the other for the happiness, it will also cause them burden, because if you are not happy, so they will also consider that is I'm doing some mistakes or something like that. So it's always going to be there is a tension. So my suggestion will be like, don't put too much burden on your partner.
Absolutely. Like if we don't choose ourselves, heal ourselves after a heartbreak, maybe moving on can be difficult. Also, if
Mhm.
in a relationship itself, even if it's not a breakup, but we understand that there's scope for development and maybe there's some codependency that has come, we can always work on ourselves. And that's when therapy or counseling can come very handy, instrumental. If you think you do need that support, do not hesitate to reach out. Of course, you can connect with friends and family, and they are there to help. But if you do need that, there's a point when you need a very neutral lens to understand what can work better. It is the right step to take. It's not a weakness. I think we have come a long way fighting with that stigma. So today, when we have services available to be able to make our life a much more informed one, better one, then that step can be taken. So that's my last call. I would invite any of you, if you have any closing statements or suggestions to give for our audience today, please go ahead. Meeti, Shreya, anyone? All right. So thank you so much for joining us today. We have one last activity. Meeti, would you like to guide us through this?
I think this is a takeaway activity.
Mm-hmm.
So, all our attendees can simply just take a screenshot or take a photo of this bingo. And this has like some ideas if you would want to develop the love languages into everyday life. What I would want you all to do is maybe tick mark all the things that you are already doing in your relationship, and circle all those things that you would want to do with your partner. So these are different ways in which we can communicate our love. These can seem small, but that's the whole point of today's webinar, that these small everyday habits can lead to a lasting love. And we all can learn or do things differently when it comes to communicating love. So simply take the screenshot of this and see if you would want to try some of these things further.
And to make it a little bit more fun and interactive, I would also like to request, if you have been part of our discussion today through YouTube or through Zoom, do take a screenshot, fill in the bingo, share it on your Instagram story, tag us and tag other friends also, to see how much they resonate with you and how much they also understand the love languages. It will be fun to see how much you could take away through a small activity, and we would also get an opportunity to stay in touch with you all, and we will repost you on our official Instagram page. It will be a lovely way of connecting and staying connected. With that, I would like to ask, if any one of you have any questions, any thoughts, you can put it in the chat box. And while we are waiting for your questions, I would request my team to share Meeti's profile from the live website, so that we can see what services she provides, and we can understand how she can help us in the future to keep learning, to keep growing, to solve our relationship problems. If at all we're looking for an expert, she's right here for that guidance.
Yeah, so maybe to also tell you what are the packages that I offer. There are two packages that I'm currently offering. One is the premarital counseling relationship readiness program. So we spoke about how these things can be identified before getting into the relationship also. So if there are any differences, if you would just simply want to know yourself more, if you would just want to be ready, because this is an anxiety provoking journey. So if you would want to be ready for this, you can take up this package, premarital counseling. And there is another package on healing attachment wounds. We also spoke about differences of love language, which can also come because of different attachment styles. So that is the second package that I'm offering. If you would want to know your attachment style, if you would want to become more secure in a relationship, this is the package you would want to go for. And I have one-on-one slots as well, apart from the packages, which you can check.
Thank you, Meeti, for humbly taking us through all of these points where people can keep connecting and reaching out to all of us. With that, we come to an end to today's webinar. We are a webinar tomorrow on the relationship theme itself, because this is a month that we have so that we can get the best out of understanding and discussing what can be the best version of ourselves in a social setting, in an interpersonal setting. So a lot of us may go through a crisis of, I don't know how to conduct myself in a big group. I get a little shy, I get a little awkward, I don't know how to talk in a very public setting, in a public setting. This is just for you. So let's connect and discuss further on how to socialize better, and what can be the everyday habit that can help us build better connections among friends, among colleagues, among family members. This can be very helpful and insightful for you all. So if you want to register, you can scan this QR right now on your screen, and we will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Also, give us a follow on social media. And like I said, let's stay connected. That always helps us find more opportunity to connect and learn from each other and get more resources to help ourselves. So thank you so much. Have a great weekend ahead. And yet again, to all the speakers, it was lovely connecting, discussing with you three. I learned a lot. I'm sure participants learned a lot. Have a great weekend ahead.
Thank you,
Thank
and I wish
you.
you
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.